You are now tuned in to the Pearl and Wood channel, where every layer of being is accounted for. Thank you for tuning in. Today's session is in regards to the total solar eclipse, new moon in Leo. Today is the day I'm recording is August 20th, and I started recording at 2:02. So we're already locked in. The new moon in Leo solar eclipse occurred on the 12th. So we're a little over a week post eclipse. But let's talk about what just happened. Okay, as usual, it's the usual vibe session. I have the 528 hertz healing frequency playing in the background. I have my stones, Ma Durga. I did a sound cleanse before. I already have the cards pulled. Of course, I already prayed over them, chatted with my team to receive the best messages for us. And before we get into it, let's talk about the details of the day. So, the total solar eclipse, new moon in Leo, occurred on Wednesday, August 12th. I did not look at the time it was at its fullest. It was 1:47 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 10:47 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 12:47 p.m. Central Standard Time. I like to go over the numbers, you never know what message you'll get from them. It occurred, I said Wednesday. Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. It was at 20 degrees Leo. 20 degrees is the Scorpion degree according to the theory degree in astrology. Okay. Then we got some number sequences. We got master numbers 11, master number 22, master number 33. I don't know if all the double numbers are considered master numbers. I just know those three to be. But we also got number 44, number 55, and number sequence 1010. Then also we got some stair step numbers 4, 5, 6. So yes, some potent energies, but what else are we to expect? Okay, and numerologically, it occurred on a 3-day. Okay, so what does all this mean? For the new moon total solar eclipse to occur on a Mercury day, that signals to me it's symbolic of a completely brand new energetic phase for the mental of the collective. And I think Mercury was also in Leo. Mercury was also in Leo when the new moon occurred. So, makes sense. We have a new mental energetic time that's more heart-centered and not the lovey-dovey, ooey-gooey Disney version of heart-centered. Like, oh, I'm just going to follow my dreams and follow my heart. This is it's a real process that has layers and, it's legit. And the fact that it occurred on the 3-day, it's communicative, collaborative, creative communications that um, that the framework, the pathway, whatever you want to call it, was just laid by this total solar eclipse. And the fact that it's at 20 degrees, which is a Scorpion degree, it gives it that extra layer of rawness. It comes from the depths of the human psyche, the depths of the human mental, the collective mental, the collective conscience, the collective subconscious, and the collective unconscious. It's a total reset. So it can be in direct accordance with the heart space, which is called the Anima Mundi. Okay. Now, I think that was a decent intro. We can get into the cards. No, actually. So the other day, I was researching something. I was looking something up that was totally unrelated to this. Okay, but nothing's unrelated and nothing's a coincidence. I came across a Bible verse, Matthew 5:22. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I don't know if that's one of the popular, prominent scriptures, but I came across it looking something up. And it reads, "But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council, and whoever says, 'You fool,' will be liable to the hell of fire." So, whether you've been keeping up or not, the last new moon session, I titled it something about initiation with fire. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact name at this exact moment, but all this is tying in. And then the last vibe session I did, I named it stoking the spark of life. Okay, so this theme of fire, okay, is very prominent at this time. But I also feel like this is good advice or just a good reminder that, but I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council, and whoever says, 'You fool,' will be liable to the hell of fire." That makes me want to read the whole thing. This whole section is titled anger, so I'm probably just going to read all of it. It says anger. This is Matthew 5:21 through 5:26. You have heard that it was said to those of old, 'You shall not murder, and whoever murders will be liable to judgment.' But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council, and whoever says, 'You fool,' will be liable to the hell of fire. So if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Come to terms quickly with your accuser while you are going with him to court, lest your accuser hand you over to the judge, and the judge to the guard, and you be put in prison. Truly, I say to you, you will never get out until you have paid the last penny." Okay. So what I take from that is your anger can become a prison if you allow it, which is super potent for one of my more recent writings, posts, shares. I don't ever really, articles, I don't really know what to call them. I haven't posted it yet, but it goes right along. It goes right along with it. It's about shadow work, and in it, I spoke on how collectively we are processing grief of the old ways of being, and excuse me, the old ways we've been connected to the system that is now dying. And I also listed the five stages of grief, anger being one of them. Okay. And we got word from one of the holy books that basically says if you make your anger about everybody else and instead of yourself, you will be the one that's trapped by that anger because you're giving your power away essentially. You're not allowing yourself to feel that heat and allow it to mm, allow it to travel through the pathways that's necessary. Okay, because we have plentiful bodily processes that require heat or electricity is a good word because we have a nervous system, and electricity, our nervous system, believe it or not, has that type of charge. It has an electrical charge. So when you don't properly deal with your anger, you can throw the nervous system off, which will throw a whole lot of other stuff off. You know what I mean? So yes, we are all processing grief. Okay, we are all bearing witness to this highly anticipated time in human history. Okay, which leads us perfectly into the cards. The first card we have, it reads, Everything is here. Okay, this came up for the Leo season vibe session. So if you haven't already, go tap into that. Everything is here. It reads, Embrace the spiritual belief that everything already exists in the here and now. Live in the present moment and be grateful for what you have. Okay, so if we tie that into what has already been spoken on, be grateful that you have the capacity to feel anger. Be grateful that you have the capacity to feel. Okay, because that means what? You're awake, you're conscious. And being conscious during a time like this can be very overwhelming because it's like, what the fuck is going on? And why the fuck does nobody know? But then there's some people that fake like they know, and then there's people that it's just a whole lot of chaos and commotion. Okay. And I'm glad that we're chatting about this now because I know now's a good time to release the article about shadow work. It is the it's the beginning of something else that I'm excited to share with the community, but in due time. But be on the lookout for that. I'll probably post a link in the description or the comments. So that's neither here nor there. Everything is here. The last says live in the present moment and be grateful for what you have. So yes, like I was saying, be grateful that you have the capacity to feel. Okay. And if you're feeling angry, be grateful because your anger, I've read, I'm not going to take credit for other people's words. I've read that anger is a signal from your body that your boundaries have been crossed, and you know you feel wronged, and I don't know where I was going, but yes, you feel wronged, and your boundaries were crossed. Okay, so that's new information, and with that new information, you can rebuild from there. Okay, because loss isn't meant to stay permanent. Okay, we're all losing parts of ourselves, maybe some of us more than others, but all of us all of us are going through this at the same time, and it is affecting all of us in its own ways. So nobody's alone in any of this. Okay. And once we allow the heat to flow through all of us and flow through us properly, without giving our power away, that allows for rapid change and transformation to occur. So basically, our prayers get answered through us paying attention, living in the present moment, and being grateful for what we have. And we as humans have the capacity to feel. Okay, and this total solar eclipse, new moon in Leo, occurred at 20 degrees, a Scorpio degree, the depths. We all have the capacity to feel. And maybe that capacity is growing deeper and stronger and wider at this time. It kind of has to, or it's easy to get caught up in the chaos and get overwhelmed and stay attached to something that is dying and needs to die. Okay. Which leads to the next card, which is cannabis. It is number 31. The keyword is detachment. It is associated with Saturn and Neptune, which both are currently retrograde in Aries. I believe so. Don't get me the line, y'all. But I can look that up right quick, you guys. Shout out to the internet. Shout out to computers. Shout out to having multiple devices. I've come a long way. All right, Saturn is retrograde and Neptune is retrograde, both in Aries. Saturn is retrograde at 14 degrees Aries, which is a Taurus degree, and Neptune is retrograde 3 degrees Aries, which is a Gemini degree. So Taurus and Gemini, underlying tones anyway, when it comes to Saturn and Neptune. Cannabis. Okay, you guys, Perlinwood Collective. I know y'all be out there sparking up. Shoot, and I hope when you listen to some of the vibe sessions, feel free. That's one of the reasons why I like to have the calming music. It's easier on the nervous system, and it allows the subconscious and unconscious mind to pick up on messages that the conscious mind may not pick up on. You know what I mean? I just think it's cool. So yes, detachment. We have to detach from all the stories and all the advice and all the conditioning that we've gotten when it comes to how we deal with our feelings and how we adjust ourselves. Okay, we have to just detach because we are building literal new frameworks from the top, from the head. Okay, Aries. Okay, Aries being the head. Okay, and Saturn being the frameworks of our reality, our perceivable, tangible, livable reality. Saturn is connected, deeply intertwined with that process. Okay, and then we have Neptune, which is deeply associated with the collective subconscious select oh my goodness, I'm putting all the words together. Collective subconscious as well as collective unconscious. So the unseen realm and our relationship to it, that is Neptune's realm. So Neptune being in Aries, the early degrees of Aries really, Gemini degree specifically, there's more of that mental framework. So our mental faculties, our unseen mental faculties are under review and restructure and reform. Okay. Another reason why it's important to detach from everything that we once knew at 222, at 2002 on the timer. Okay. So I don't know. This also might be a call to tap into the medicine of cannabis. Okay. I don't know. Maybe that's something else you have to detach from. Or we are detaching from, or we have detached from. Um, Looking down on alternative methods of healing and soothing the nervous system, because cannabis definitely has that effect. And there's plenty of awesome research to where you can find cannabis in any form at this point that can be beneficial. Okay. Cannabis for me definitely relaxes my mental. It helps my mental, which moves very quickly and is deeply, I'm just very connected to my gut and my instincts and things like that. So in times like this, it's easy for me to get caught up in the constant onslaught of just every effing thing. Then from hearing the noise and seeing the overcast from the freaking street lights and all the overstimulation from the shows, the tablets, my kids, and just everything. Cannabis definitely helps my mind feel safe in my body and helps me remember that we're all on the same team. And it's like, chill out, bub. Do what you can and deal with it. Everything's cool. So that's just me. I'm all for um, engaging in our relationships with Mother Nature's gifts. And there are plenty other methods other than cannabis, but cannabis is pretty popular. But let me go ahead and read what the guidebook has to say about cannabis so we can all learn a little bit together. And this is from the Herbal Astrology Oracle deck. Cannabis, number 31, detachment. Cannabis sativa. There's also indica. Upright, detachment. Deep contemplation. Freedom from pain body, inner calm, immunity. Reversed. Numb, disassociation, neglect, chronic pain, not seeing a way out, trapped, unsettled. Very Saturnian things. Cannabis is one of the oldest known psychotropic herbs. The first recorded use of cannabis is from 8000 BC in an ancient village in Taiwan, where indigenous groups used hemp fibers in their fabrics, pottery, rope, and even their shoes, not relying on animal skins or even silk for clothing. In 4000 BC, in the Chinese village of Panpao, hemp was considered to be one of the 5 grains of China, thus a major food crop. In the Chinese Materia Medica from 2737 BC, hemp was recognized for its ability to treat over 100 medical issues, including gout, malaria, and rheumatism. You guys, un momento. I'm going to finish reading, but I'm coming back to the malaria. The medicinal use of marijuana features heavily in Hindu religious texts. In the Vedas, for example, written between 2000 BC and 1400 BC, cannabis was considered a sacrament of Shiva, described as a source of happiness, a joy giver, and a bringer of freedom that was compassionately given to humans by the gods to relieve them of anxiety and help them achieve delight as well as fearlessness. Cannabis's many uses fall mostly under Saturn and Neptune's rulership, with a strong Piscean undertone. Since it is a musculoskeletal relaxant, anti-inflammatory, and pain reliever, it is a great ally for those seeking to soften the rough edges of Saturn's impact. Its mood-enhancing, anti-anxiety, anti-inflammatory, and psychotropic properties belong to the realms of Neptune and therefore Pisces. Guidance. Saturn is said to be the lord of time and space, the lord of karma. Although often called the Great Malefic, Saturn is much more than what we experience in third-dimensional reality. The space-time continuum is a system that encompasses third-dimensional reality as we know it, said to be ruled by Saturn, yet the transcendence of this reality is freedom from Saturn, depicted by its polarity, Neptune. When the angels of time and space are respected, Saturn, they bless us with freedom and the ability to transcend Neptune, the cycles of the pain body. If you feel restless, anxious, trapped in your own body, or have trouble sleeping, cannabis is here to remind you to cultivate inner calm. Breathe deeply, go for a walk in nature, immerse yourself in meditation, take naps, and creatively cultivate practices that soften the unsettled aspects of your being. Don't succumb to quick fix solutions when it comes to decompressing, as it often leads to self neglect and dissociation. Tune deeply into the energetics of this ancient ally and learn to transcend the cycles of self induced pain. Man. But back to the malaria. Okay. So I've been deep diving into things for a while. Malaria being one of them. And I can find my I don't even know what to call the process. It's like digital bibliomancy, digital scrying or something. I don't really know what I like to call it. I don't really care to call it anything. Anyways, I was doing a deep dive into malaria, like the etymology, history, just anything. Malaria, from my findings, is deeply connected to gentrification. Okay. And when you hear about malaria, I can only speak for me. Malaria, when I was younger, malaria was only heard of in places like, Africa, I don't know, the underprivileged areas or under third world country type places in Africa, because I know not all of Africa is like that. But yes, when you think of it like that, there's been history of different types of people always trying to come and make themselves at home without making themselves at home. Like they want to do what they were doing from their home place in a new place, and it's not necessarily compatible. So it creates malaria, you guys. And the fact that um, cannabis, pot marijuana, um, is a medicine that can treat that, I think it says a lot. Because also in those files from that man on that island, and y'all know what I'm talking about, it says marijuana users were the hardest to manipulate. Just saying, just putting that out there. Cannabis will get you there. That's all I'm saying. If you need that, if you need help to detach yourself from your pain body, like I'm glad I read this because such a good way to put it. Because people say it makes you not give a fuck, but like, if anything, it helps you realize the things that do make you, I don't know, I guess, focus on your pain instead of, the joy or what you can do to alleviate the pain. Okay. Which could have anchors and hooks in the past, which leads us to the next card that we got, which is South Node. Okay. The Sun and the South Node are both in Leo. Okay. So that's more fire energy. We just talked about how Saturn and Neptune are in Aries. The South Node, the South Node and the Sun are both in Leo. Okay. So what does that say? Currently, our vitality is deeply influenced by the past. And since Leo is associated with the heart and the heart space in the spine, potentially memories of that are connected to standing up for yourself or not standing up for yourself or doing something that you loved, memories of times like that are potentially popping up for us in the collective. So we can what? Take our power back. So if it's because we are also collectively processing grief in the five phases, there's anger, denial, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. Of course, there's no exact order. Okay. But we could be cycling through any of those feelings right now. All because the past is the past and it's over, but that doesn't mean that our body has caught up to it. And this time is giving us, with the combination of the retrogrades, the combination of the sun and the south node touching each other, and then Pluto and the north node touching each other, is just a lot of transformation. And when I say touching each other, I should say just reaching out, connecting, whatever. But yes, we are being granted the energetic window to reclaim our power through the signals that our body gives us. So, anger, depression, denial, like these are all signals from our body telling us, like I said, I read that anger is when, you know, you feel your boundaries have been crossed. Depression is when you're focused and stuck in the past. Denial. I feel like I don't remember what it said about denial, but personally, I feel like denial is when it's hard to accept multiple truths at once. When there's multiple truths and you think that one truth should trump another truth, when in reality they both exist at the same time. I feel like that's what denial is signaling to the body, that you need to accept that multiple truths can exist at once. Okay, in depression, accept that the past is the past and you can take your power back. Anger, same thing. Someone crosses your boundary, pisses you the fuck off. You can do something about that. Okay, and even if you don't know in the moment that you feel that way, if you just trust and detach yourself from the pain and align yourself with the potential to regain your power, the results are like damn near instantaneous, you know? And I say this from experience, you guys. I used to have fucking terrible anxiety. I used to have terrible anxiety until one day I was just like, I'm fucking tired of being scared. I'm tired of fucking feeling like this. I'm tired of pissing on myself. Like, I'm tired. So I just bossed up. I can't really say. It was just literally like a mental shift that I did not let go of. Okay. And then let me read from the South Node. The South Node describes what you bring along from past lives, your skills, proclivities, addictions, weaknesses, unfinished business, in a physical place within your body where you may hold tension or ancient karmic stories. The lunar nodes are points on the zodiac where the moon's orbit crosses the ecliptic. When the moon, sun, and earth exactly line up here, a shadow mysteriously covers the sun or moon and creates an eclipse. The ancients thought a giant creature cast those shadows and referred to the nodes as the head and tail of a dragon. Where the moon descended toward the south is the dragon's tail. Action. This situation has its roots in some past karmic pattern, the origins of which are not clear. You either need to apply skills that you were born with or look again at old problems and work to heal them. The situation feels hauntingly familiar, but without a story to go with it, echoing, I don't know what this is, echoing something from another time of life. An old love or familiar enemy may return, or the patterns involved could remind you of an earlier difficult chapter. If someone triggers your South Node, you may feel like you owe them or they owe you, and while that may be true, this accounting won't help now. Cleanly deal with what is on the table and stay in the present moment. We got that in the first card. Live in the present moment and be grateful for what you have. Learn new ways to respond, new skills that help when old trauma is triggered or old cravings sing their siren song. Break that spell. Use breathing techniques, investigate dialectical behavior therapy, or do something unexpected just to break those patterns and give you more options here and now. Stay focused on a healthy future of your own making. Do something unexpected. Uranus is associated with the unexpected. Uranus is in Gemini. Okay. Neptune is retrograde. Well, today that I'm reading this, it's retrograde in Gemini. So talk to different people, literally, about different things. Just use your mind in different ways. Use the faculties of the mind in different ways at this time, okay? Don't use it to beat yourself up. Don't use it to be stuck on your pain. Don't use the mental faculties because the faculties of the mind, that's a power in and of itself. Okay. That's one of the power centers. We have several others. Okay. Don't use your power against yourself, essentially. Challenge. Under stress, you may fall back on familiar defenses and relive what you've always lived. PTSD, flashbacks, and addictive habits or relationships all operate around your South Node. Gift. Use this opportunity to heal triggers and patterns from the past. Take them as teaching moments and learn. Then your hard-earned skills and wisdom can help you build your future. You feel me? When you take your power back, it's yours again, and you can use it to build. Okay? But this work, doing these things, literally can and will increase your vitality. Like, the more of your power that you call back, the more power that you have available to live your life in the present moment. Okay? So use those triggers to your benefit. Okay? And that leads us to the last card that we have, and it's True Self. Okay? True Self is associated with the fire element. And this is from the Elemental Empath Oracle deck. It's number 10. It's associated with the fire element, and the keywords is connect to soul, heed inner guidance, and purify your energy. So again, basically tapping into what I was just saying. Connect to soul. Okay. One of the best ways to connect to your soul is pay attention to your feelings. What's pissing you the fuck off? What's making you feel depressed? What's making you feel like you have to deny things? You know what I mean? What's preventing you from accepting yourself and the present moment at the same time? Okay, that's how you connect to your soul. And then you heed the guidance and the signals from your feelings, like I've been saying the whole vibe session. Pay attention and then take heed. Okay. I'm gonna try to find, because I've seen it as put in a meme form and everything. I'm gonna try to find what the feelings are signaling. I'm gonna try to find that, what I read, and share it. But yeah, just any emotion that you're feeling, anything that is triggering you, figure out what the actual message is and then deal with that, and not just the response, the triggered response. Okay. So if someone pisses you off, and when you're normally pissed off, instead of figuring out why, you just like go out and drink, or you overeat, or you go to sleep, just anything. Before you do that, literally before you have your triggered response, see what the feeling is trying to tell you. Okay? Because that's how you learn more of who you are. Okay? And the more that you find out what your feelings are telling you, that's how you purify your energy, and you won't be so weighed down. Okay? Your body won't hold on to so much. Okay? And that is what I have for this vibe session. The total solar eclipse, new moon in Leo 2026. Okay, you guys, figure out your relationship with the element of fire. Okay? In physical world, I'm not saying be a pyromaniac, but get more in tune with it. Maybe bake more, or cook more, or learn more about what makes you mad, and learn more about what makes you like mad in the negative, destructive sense, and mad in the passionate, can't turn you away sense. Okay, learn what makes you mad, learn what makes you tick. Okay, we are being granted the window to properly deal with our collective fire. Okay. So, on that note, we got this, y'all. We been here. We gonna stay here. Until next time. Peace.